Thank you so much, Kareem. I really, really appreciate it. What a way to kick things off today. And again, Kareem mentioned about the handout that we sincerely appreciate that he put together. We'll be sending that out, if not later tonight, then first thing tomorrow. So you guys will have your hands on it and be able to start utilizing it before the holiday weekend. So thank you so much again, Kareem. Guys, the best part is that we're just getting started. There is absolutely no fading in terms of quality here today, ladies and gentlemen. On that, you have my word. It's just not possible when you go from one vector legend to our next speaker, another vector legend, but also a true trailblazer in so many ways, in my opinion. I honestly continue to be in awe of Deanna Scortino and her accomplishments inside and outside of the business. You know, you read her accomplishments, and honestly, and please take this in the way that it's intended, it just doesn't seem real or possible. But I know her, and we all know her, and we know that it is. And it is because of the hard work that she puts in every single day to make it happen, day in and day out, week in and week out. Guys, Deanna currently holds a streak of 10K weeks of 42 weeks. That's nearly a year straight. Let me say that again because I want that to sink in for a second. Over 42 consecutive 10K weeks. She gave a CSP leadership group call last year with her husband, extraordinaire Chuck Thomas, that honestly, it still sticks with me. The way that she talked about her business, the way that she attacks it and protects it and develops it, it's just truly, it's extraordinary and it's on another level. For an example, I would say that Deanna is probably one of the only representatives who tracks her sub products each and every day. And what that means is the appointments completed, the calls that were made, the number of emails that were done. She believes in only comparing to herself so she can better herself each and every day in order to pursue that growth and seek that commitment that she has with her and her husband's Chuck goals, which they go back and they review frequently. I think that's becoming a common running theme here, as you heard the call yesterday and today. Setting these goals, reviewing them frequently, whether it's financial or whether it's business. That's a huge portion of success that I think that you guys are getting clued into from some of our top people. You don't become a five-peat. You know, I think we had the three-peat that was trademarked by Pat Riley and you know, the Bulls and all of that, but you don't become a five-peat Silver Cup champion without incredibly high standards and belief. And Deanna has that in everything that she does and everywhere that she touches. Deanna's conviction, it occurs not only in Cutco, but in herself, and it is exponentially high. You're not on a path for a sixth consecutive Silver Cup without a champion mindset. And Deanna has that in spades. I think that she would be the first to tell you that where she respects others, you're going to come to find out that she really doesn't give a crap about any petty talk or the problems that other people concern themselves with or what the crowd seems to be doing. That's what I mean by being a trailblazer in this business. She is tough, but her focus is unwavering. But in addition to that, she adds humor and fun into everything that she does as well, which makes her clientele continuously loyal and entertained. Hey, I'm going to tell you personally, there are some people in your life that I'm sure you can agree with. You smile when you see their name come across your phone or in your email box. And when I sort my emails by name or I see the name come up on my lock screen for my phone and Deanna's name is there, it has that effect on me. Polite, professional, but that awesome personality shines through in every interaction that we have, which is why I know it's why she has such loyalty from her peers and her clients. Above all, her mental toughness, it really just stems from a willingness to succeed at a high level, but it also is helping others do so in the process. I'm excited to hear her talk more about this today. So I know we're virtual, but however you can do it, in the comfort of your own home, I'd like you to give a big, warm, virtual size welcome to Deanna D. Nasty Scortino. Deanna, all yours.
Thank you, Dave. Thank you guys so much for being here. Kareem, that was fire. I just took so many notes. I can't wait for that handout, and I'll re-listen to your talk probably a million times. So thank you for that. Love it. And every time you bring a talk to the table, I'm always entertained. So good. I did text check your visual. It was amazing. All right, you guys, mental toughness. Here we go. I want to appreciate Dave, Josh, Loretta, all you guys for approaching me to give this message. I find that mental toughness relates in a lot of ways to mindset. And the fun thing about mindset is it's different from person to person. So we can all agree that Cutco is awesome. We can all agree that a spatula spreader is $75, but we may not all agree on how we each should think. We may differ on how we approach Cutco and our businesses and even how we approach life for that matter. But that's really what makes us all individuals. We all have a different mindset. We all have a different mental toughness around that. So, for example, some of you might on this call be brand new CSPs and you're gradually checking out this new Cutco career. And maybe some of you are doing this part-time because you're working on having more days off. Some of you mentioned this yesterday because of lifestyle, things like that. Then there are some of you that 100% support your families only by doing Cutco. And you have a very different viewpoint and mental toughness because of that aspect. Therefore, I've learned that in a group setting like this, I'm happy to simply share not only how I think and show my mental toughness, but why these techniques have worked so well for me over the last several years. Now, some of you might think my mental toughness and viewpoint is a little intense. However, others of you will not only appreciate my viewpoint on life, but you will want to grab it by the balls just like I have. Disclaimer, I will keep this message clean for the most part, but I wasn't chosen to give this message because I tend to censor myself. So I'm here to keep it real for y'all because I know none of you are actually interested in a fake message anyway. You're welcome in advance. So whatever type of CSP you are, take what I say with a grain of salt. Spin it however you want it to work in your business, and may your Cutco business, or your life for that matter, never be the same again. For example, here's a statement I made during 2020 that I'll share with you all now. If there's something I've taken from 2020, it's that I choose my environment to be a thriving one. And if anyone or anything threatens that in any capacity, they will be rejected and or replaced. You choose your environment and your surroundings, and you ensure they align with your goals at all times. Now, that may be viewed as an intense statement, but those of you who know me well know that's just how I think. How it actually comes across is with fun and jokes all day. This was mainly due to the fact that this is how I've been raised. This is how my mental capacity works with how I was raised. You get clarity on what you want by the way you get it done. And the way you get it done is to bring the person in front of you up to a higher state of tone or emotion, AKA make them laugh. So they want more of what you got. Have you guys seen me at the booth? Oh, it gets nasty up in there all day, every day. So you're gonna write down two things here. You can get anything you want if you, number one, write this down, have good intentions. And number two, you can get anything you want if at the same time you're able to help others around you simultaneously. So all you guys need is good intentions and helping others. It's so simple. You guys know I'm not the best with words. Sometimes the wrong thing comes out of my mouth, but I have good intention. So it doesn't really matter what I say. And that's all right. Like, you can get away with it. Danny Garrido, if this was one of the most mind-blowing things he said yesterday, I don't even know if you guys caught it. Let's focus here. Here we go. So what he said though was this: if you don't like your numbers, look in the mirror. I loved it. If you don't like your numbers, look in the mirror. Like, that's so savage and I love it. So if you guys aren't hitting your goals, I guess just the pain isn't great enough. That's really what it came down to, right? So if you guys aren't hitting your goals, the pain just isn't great enough. I'm going to focus here in just a sec. Is that close enough? Oh, now you like it. You like this pour. I know you're into it. All right, here we go. So it always comes back to you guys. It's never anyone else or anything else. It's you. Call it a mantra or whatever you want. But after all this time, this concept has truly become isn't going my way. I only feel better when I look at me. I only feel better when I look at me if I'm doing the closet. Period. It's the only thing that's ever going to make you guys feel good because it's what you can control. You can't control other people. You can only control you. So control you and be a badass at it. The world will work out better when you are 100% responsible. When you're the cause point and not the effect, you got it made. So mind over matter. We've heard it a million times. Chelsea, girl, this was so spot on. It was in my talk. By doing what I've always done, I will always get what I've always got. That's why you and I are friends. We think the same that way. But it's true, you guys. Just if you want something different, you have to change your actions. Mental toughness is many times a product of a distraction-free environment as well. I'll repeat that. Mental toughness is a product of a distraction-free environment. I decide what I listen to. If something or someone is taking me off course, I notice it right away and get back on track. Here's an example. Some of you know I'm pretty strict about my income producing hours. My income producing hours are from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. every working day. Customer service comes right after that. So there's some exceptions to this, like it's California or Pacific time, right? 2 p.m. is 5 p.m. at Cutco factory land. So sometimes I have to call logo engraving or handle a billing thing earlier. But the point is I protect my 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. for the most part. That's my decision. And my decision is so firm, everything else falls into place after that. So here's an example as well. My first district manager told me this. He said, once a decision is made, the how-to reveals itself. Once a decision is made, the how-to reveals itself. Heck, I didn't know what this meant when I was 16 years old, but it kept getting ingrained in my head and I finally figured it out. But it's so true. If I can get the most difficult part, the decision, out of my way first, everything else is so much simpler. For example, I get 10 to 20 calls done, you guys, every working day. Communication with customers is single-handedly the biggest key to my customers being loyal and consistently reordering with me. I don't care if it's a realtor, a residential, or whatever. You guys know my business is about 50-50. So it's not really one way or the other. I do complete 1 to 3 appointments every working day. Some virtual, some in person, whatever it is. 1 to 3, it varies. And remember I said working day, not all days, working days. I also handle, this has been a fun challenge the last 12 plus months, 50 emails every day, and I archive them as well. So they are not in the inbox at all. I can get to them if I search, but I don't see any of that. One less distraction, 50 a day, no fail. So I don't let life sway me to where it wants me to go. I decide where I want it to go and make it so. I don't have time for it to be some other way. It's just not going to align with my goals and it's going to be a time waster. So no matter what comes up, I always stick to my agreements of what I decided to do. If you cannot rely on yourself and stick to your own agreements, how can you expect others to rely on you? Am I perfect at this? You guys, maybe I have a lot of confidence on it. I am not perfect at all. Nowhere near it. But it's about setting those standards and boundaries and rewards for oneself. Again, I'm just not participating in something that comes up randomly just because I felt like it and I wanted to. There's a plan here that's bigger and more important. There's something I noticed that I do that about 80% of CSPs do not do. And that's this. I confront my business. Now, confront. Greatest definition I could find to give you guys today is this: to face without flinching or avoiding. To face without flinching or avoiding. Now, some of you are thinking right now, okay, Deanna, I don't flinch at my business, or I don't avoid my business. Okay, fine. So here's an idea. When you go on vacation, or when you go hang out with friends or family, when it's unplanned and your stats, your CPO shoots out the bottom, what happened? Now, I'm not saying you should necessarily work on vacation, but there's a way to prepare so you don't even have to think about it while you're there. You guys see the difference, right? Maybe do a big sale at the few days leading up to your vacation, or you make double the amount of calls the days leading up to your trip and the first few days of your return. Prepare for your vacation and get your work done beforehand so the vacation is truly an actual reward. You guys, that's how I've sold 10K a week for the past however long. There's weeks I'm not even working, but it was that preparation that made it so. So don't just go on vacation because you feel like it's time to go. Stop feeling like no more feeling, just a little bit, not that much, okay? Now, I will say confronting almost any is especially difficult for people in 2020. I can relate, you guys. Even some challenging, for some challenges for people this year in 2021. However, here's the difference. The decision that my goals were way more important than the BS going on around me. You guys, I live in Los Angeles where there's a lot of BS. And guess what? I didn't make time for it. Distraction, next. Distraction, next. You decide where you're going. Ain't nobody distracting you from that ever. Period. Game over. A few common themes in my message, if you guys haven't caught up on this yet, are these words: decision, confront. These are probably key things to jot down. And the third, so that was decision, confront, and as difficult as it is, don't be comparing yourself to other people in the business. I've been there, done that, you guys. The only person you need to be comparing yourself to is who? You. We all know this, yet we fall into this, oh, look what so-and-so did. And like, anytime someone's bragging about anything, I'm like, okay, great. I'm glad you did that today. What are you doing tomorrow and the next week consistently? Like, I don't care about this like random up and down. What's overall? What are you doing? Are you expanding over last year as a whole? That would be awesome. So I don't just keep track of my statistics, calls, CPO, etc. I confront them each and every working day. I've said this quote a million times. Data is only as valuable as it can be compared. My husband, Chuck Thomas, and I talk about that a lot. Data is only as valuable as it can be compared. Am I doing better? Am I doing worse? You can only be better if you're comparing to where you've been. Duh. You got to confront. It blows my mind how many CSPs don't know like how they're doing compared to last year. Like, I'm not saying to know per day or something, but have an idea. I may have emotions just like the next human being, but logic, you guys, always needs to come first if we're going to accomplish any of our goals here. And it definitely needs to come first for any goals I need to accomplish with Chuck and I. Okay. So here is some really cool, fun inside information about what numbers I go for on a daily basis. I get this question a lot, so hopefully some of this is of value to you guys. My personal standards. Funny enough, Danny Garrido said some similar stuff yesterday. A couple years ago, I decided to do 10K a week. That's $1,700 a day for 6 working days. Now, I don't always work 6 days. A lot of you don't. Most of the time, I work Monday through Friday. And Monday and Friday aren't exactly full days. More importantly, selling 1,000 CPO by noon every day. Every working day, 1,000 by noon. That's been my standard for about 3 years now, and it has helped me immensely. If my mom, sister, girlfriends, inappropriate group text message thread, best shout out ever, you guys, best group ever. If you guys are like, if I'm receiving communication, I'm likely going to respond after 2 p.m. The cool thing is once others are aware of you're running a tight ship, they not only respect your time, but they admire you as a business owner. I mean, come on. Why would you guys rather be liked worth, you know, rather than, I'd rather be than liked. I think all of us would. So this reminds me of a conversation I had 2 years ago. Why is it so hard to talk to you before 3 p.m. Eastern time? I'm like, Dave, that was in by noon. And he's like, oh, that makes way more sense now. And then the flip side is I want to be respectful, right? I don't want to call him when it's 5 p.m. here, because then he's with his family. Like, I don't, like, it's a good, you can communicate all day. So, and maybe your guys' goal is 500 by noon, or more simply put, 1 order by noon. It doesn't matter. Just have a standard for yourself. As Chelsea talked about, Brandon said, and Kareem said, if we're already here working, we might as well maximize our time. So we've all gotten to the end of the day and wondered, why didn't I produce anything today? I was so busy. Like, what happened? I've been there so many times. We all have. So set those standards and that won't happen. So here's 3 major steps for homework I'm going to have you guys do. And I'm warning you, it's rocket science. So here we go. We're going to jump in. This is homework, but I'm going to have you do it right now. So get your pen or your tablet or whatever you're doing. Number 1, based on what you're at for the year right now, are you actually on pace for your yearly goal? So based on what you're actually at right now, are you on pace for your yearly goal? Do not lie to yourself. Be honest and fully transparent here. Where are you at? Okay. Yes or no? Are you on pace? Number 2, just like in training, how many calls in a week is going to get you there for the remainder of the year? We're about halfway through, right? Now, I know some of you are like, calls, Deanna, I don't really do calls. I do shows. Well, welcome to the last 12 months. I don't care if you do shows or not. Even if you are doing shows again, are they going to be exactly the same and produce the same results that they did 2 years ago? No. It might be worse. They won't be exactly the same though. I think what I always think shows as, like, I get my calls in because that's my bread and butter. I can control that. I can't control if Dalaska happens. I can't control if, you know, someone doesn't show up to the booth, whatever. I can control what I'm doing though. And number 3, and the final thing is, how many calls does that break down to each day? Again, you guys, rocket science, I know, but here's the thing, like, guess what? 80% of CSPs don't confront those numbers, so they have no idea where they're at or how close they're going to be. So how can you have a yearly target without knowing where you're at or how you're going to get there? It's kind of like saying, okay, I'm going to win an Oscar. All right. And your friend says, how? And you say, well, you know, by acting. And they say, well, in what specifically? Thing, like, again, it's a skill get there. You can accomplish whatever, you just be thick and figure it out. So consistency is key. 10K a week should have, right now I'm at 400,000. And the reason I'm sharing that with you guys is I'm just consistent with the basics. It's not, I'm not doing anything special. I'm just keeping to the agreements and my affluences come up. The stats go up. So if you're consistent with your basics and keep to your agreements, the affluences will come. They just will. I am sure of that. So on to kind of wrap up here, I'm going to get a little personal and be a little vulnerable with you guys. Like that, I'm confident in a lot of things, but my life is not all sunshine and rainbows, and it doesn't really time. Here we go. Last week, about 6 days ago, state meeting in like 6 months. If we've been doing anything like that, it's through Zoom. This was in person. And there was a bulldog there who was a puppy. And I love dogs, especially ones with smashed faces. They're my favorite. This dog was about 80 pounds. And in a real estate office, this is kind of a normal thing, having a dog there. It's a very LA thing. So I'm playing with the dog. The owner of the meeting is running the meeting with the realtors in front of him. I'm sitting behind him playing with this dog. So the realtors can see me, he can't. And I'm playing with the dog. The dog's a puppy. They have this one of these rope tug things. And we're playing, and bulldogs are freaking loud, you guys. Like, and the claws are on the floor. Like it's kind of a scene. And then the dog grips on so hard that he gripped onto my flowy skirt as well. And he did not let go. So I'm in a pickle here trying to detach this dog who's being very loud. There's drool everywhere, and my skirt nearly rips off. Luckily it didn't. I mean, I know on Zoom we could be without a skirt, not in person. I came to find that out. And I had to interrupt the meeting, and the broker had to come over and detach the puppy. And the skirt was kind of ruined. And this girl yells out, she's like, wow, people better not get knives from that girl today. We don't want to get sued. Just awkward as hell. The dog got in trouble. It was very odd. And so easy. So luckily the day ended up going well. It's not all perfect all the time. So a couple years ago, I also made the decision to end work at 7. That's been a challenge. Sometimes you got to make games for yourself, like to make sure it's a hard stop at 7. Some of you might think that's not even a big deal, but I get it when texts come in at 9 p.m. sometimes and this and that. You just want to handle them. And I came to find out, you know what? No one needs knives at 9 p.m. at night. And guess what? If they do, there's probably some weird stuff going on. So just get back to the next day. A year ago, I decided to take my measurements every month. That's really exciting and not great all at the same time. So I have to measure myself every month. And this is just something I decided to do. And I have goals that way. So how do we make stuff fit better? That's what we're going to do. Then 5 months ago, Chuck and I decided to do 5 workouts every single week for 2021. This sucks. It's not fun, and it's very hard to do, especially when there's a service event or something like that. But every workout also has to have a HIIT workout inside of it. So HIIT, high intensity interval training, which basically has a lot of cardio and burpees, and you're going to sweat your nuts off and whatever else, even lady nuts, that helps too. So that's a new thing. 3 months ago, we decided that every single workout has to be minimally 400 calories burned. Chuck does 500 calories. For me to burn 400 calories in an hour is very difficult, but I make it happen even if there's a lot of sweat. And then the last thing, which has been one of my hardest things, is handling my emails. But now that in the last year I've had more time to do that, this is a new thing I just created on my own. And some of you might take this as a tip for you. Who knows? Chuck was not involved. This is my own idea. 1 week ago, I decided that there would be no social media happening at all. No Instagram, no Facebook, unless it was before 8 a.m. or after 50 emails were done that day, or after 7 p.m. But let's be real, it's usually after 50 emails are done. And you guys, I've never had more freedom in my life. It's so much easier controlling and not being distracted by the noise and all the BS that's on there. Some of it's really fun, but it can be distracting. We all know that. So just remember, customers are rude. People hang up on me. Dogs, maybe have caused me to nearly moon a whole office. But no, it's not always smooth sailing, but because I have my calls in, my emails are in, my marketing is in, everything works out in the end. At the end of the day, it is our responsibility as CSPs to show others a powerful example of what to look up to. The quote that inspires me the most lately is 6 months of hardcore focus and alignment with your goals can put you 5 years ahead in life. 5 years ahead in life. So here's my challenge for you guys as we wrap up here. Whether it's a CPO number, a task you've been trying to mark off your list for months or even years, write this down right now. This is the last thing we're doing. Name the one thing that's a non-negotiable for you this year that you've been allowing your environment to keep you from doing for way too long. In other words, what is the one thing you need to accomplish in 2021? 100% no fail. No fail. We're all about halfway through the year. Is it real for you to still accomplish this? You guys know at this point, it's all about deciding, confronting, and being as precise as you can be. If you're doing those things, there's no doubt in my mind that you will not achieve your goal. Decide what is, confront it, and be as precise as you can be. If you're doing those things, there's no doubt in my mind that you will not achieve your goal. Decide what is, confront it, and be as precise as you can be. compare where you were before, confront your daily actions until the moment you achieve that non-negotiable goal, and get rid of anyone or anything that's in your way of getting it. Trust me, you came up with this decision in the first place. It's your dream. Go get it. Thank you, everybody.